Welcome back to the PCC podcast, and today we are going to be exploring the invisible cost of being the reliable one. Okay, so if you are a people pleaser, maybe an eldest daughter, maybe someone who has had it all together, but you're tired and you maybe have started to resent yourself or feel like maybe this is it, right? Maybe this is life and maybe this is as good as it gets, and you've strived for everything and you have it all. You have all the certifications and the accolades and the titles and the house and the life, but you feel oddly numb, restless, or dissatisfied. This is for you. So let's talk about where this came from. Okay, so being the reliable one, there is a cost to it. There's a cost to being the person who kind of everyone looks to in your life, right? And that's because reliability isn't just a trait. It was an identity that you built for safety. And if you've gone to therapy, you might have peeled this apart, but tell me if this resonates, right? You were the one that always had to have it together, right? To avoid conflict, punishment, to avoid other people having conflict, to avoid any sort of unwanted attention, right? I would say we probably have a lot of eldest daughters listening to this episode. Maybe you took on a somewhat parent role to your siblings in the home, right? Maybe you were the friend that bossed the group around on the playground. Maybe you're the one that got straight A's, so no one had to worry about you, or maybe you were avoiding punishment. You got into the right colleges, so no one had to be concerned. And when you got there, you didn't party or go out too much because you didn't want others to worry about you, or you don't want to get in trouble or put anything on anyone else, right? No one needs to bail you out of jail, right? You helped in the house without asking, right? Because you learned early on that being useful meant being safe. And safe meant a lot of things for a lot of different people. It could mean safe from punishment or ridicule. It could mean safe from conflict. It could mean safe from disappointment. It could mean safe from discrimination. It could mean literally just safe from having to deal with someone else's BS, right? But this is where we're starting to meet the fork in the road, right? Is because you're starting to realize that you are quite a people pleaser. And it is exhausting, okay? People pleasing is a nervous system survival strategy that you learned, not a personality flaw. It's something that you can change and something that you can rewire. And we carry it into all of our behavior, right? Over accommodating others in our lives to avoid the same punishments that our nervous system is anticipating, but the stakes aren't actually there. Okay, I had a client tell me the other day, and I was like, this is such a perfect example. Like when you're sitting at a restaurant table and you've finished eating, you've paid the bill, and are you wondering, should I be leaving? Because what if the waiter doesn't get as many tips because I'm loitering, right? Or are you just present, right? Should I be in the right lane if I'm not turning? Am I holding other people up, right? I'm trying to walk around someone on the sidewalk. Is it rude to just mosey on around them? Or with your friends, right? Someone says oh, I really hate the way I look in X, Y, and Z, right? And you're the first one to go and say no, it's me, that I have this and this and this about me. You're great. You have nothing wrong with you. And you put yourself down to bring others up, right? So this is self-abandonment. Not just, accommodating and making your life more peaceful. We consider it being considerate. We think that it's being nice, but really it's self-abandonment in disguise. And it shows up really subtly in food, fitness, time, decision-making, the things that slowly eroded our goals. So for example, how do we order our food when we're in a group setting? Do we downplay the modifications that we want to make because we don't want to be the weird one or the odd one out, or to make our party look like a hassle to the waiter? How we don't prioritize our time, right? So maybe we don't go to the gym because our partner's not going to the gym, and we think that, oh, they want to spend quality time with me, so I'm just not going to do that. Or maybe going to bed at night, right? You watch a couple episodes of your favorite show with your partner and they want to watch another episode and you're like, oh, okay, I guess we will, right? and not having your nighttime routine on time as a result. And you're the one that ends up suffering when the other person on the other end probably didn't mind either way, right? So this self-abandonment shows up everywhere in our fitness journey. And it's honestly one of the biggest ways that we find like unnecessary friction with our clients of how do we actually like make it easier for you to take these steps. For example, I had another client who she has a lake around like outside of her work office, and she could easily go and just walk laps around the lake during her lunch break or even just in between tasks. But she would work through every single lunch break. And she was doing this because deep down, she believed that she couldn't prioritize herself and also be good at her job at the same time. And it really took excavating that nervous system belief of people pleasing to really see that like actually nothing burns down when I take the walk around the lake and when I actually take my lunch break. And in fact, what she learned was I actually perform better at work when I do that because I took care of myself, right? So, but it's really important to remember that when we continually accommodate, when we continually people please, what happens is we end up in a resentment loop. So we accommodate, we get depleted. No one else does. They're all fine. We feel guilty because we didn't follow through on our goals. And then we repeat the process. Why? Because our guilt erodes away at our self-concept, our self-confidence. And so we're then more likely to accommodate others because we don't value ourselves. And the thing we don't realize is how it's silently just taking away our confidence in who we are. And it's sucking you dry from your own resources to take care of yourself. And so whenever you feel like, oh, I'm just being nice, I'm just being considerate, like it's actually self-abandonment, and you will resent yourself in the long run if you don't already. And it's also important to remember that like procrastination is a part of this too, right? I'll do it later. This is usually suppressed desire, not laziness. So it's like you're on the couch, you could get your workout in, but it would be easier if I did it on the weekend when it's not on anyone else's time or anything like that. It's minimizing your own needs rather than just listening to them. And that's why that procrastination is so exhausting. And that's why your life can look really great on paper, but you can still feel off, is because you have external success without internal coherence. What does that mean? It's like I have a house, I have a good mortgage, I have a good job, I pay the bills, I, have my 401k, and I'm married and we had beautiful wedding pictures and yada, yada, yada. But something's deeply off within you because you haven't honored yourself at any step in the process. You've lost self-trust, you've built up resentment, and others tell you that you look fine or like, oh, you don't need to worry about your body, you look great. So you just ignore it more because that's what they're telling you, not what you actually feel, right? You've been last on the list the entire time, even though it looks like you have it all. And that's where we can start to like really start thinking like, am I just ungrateful? Like what I said at the beginning, it's like, is this just it? Like, is this just how I'm going to live my life? And a lot of times we keep chasing for more because we don't realize that what we're missing is something within us, right? We keep chasing for, is it more money, more praise at work, right? And we're looking for literally external accommodations from others, external validation from others of them telling us like, yes, like all the accommodating that you've done for me is worth it, but it doesn't fulfill you. And you're not ungrateful for feeling that way. You're missing something that literally nothing else can fulfill except for taking care of yourself. So if you're listening to this and you're like, but I'm tired, Marissa, like this is exhausting. Yeah, it is. And it's time to start looking at that as data instead of a weakness, right? Here's where to go next, right? It's asking yourself and getting curious, like, okay, I'm exhausted. What could this mean about how I've been living my life? How could it change? How should it change, right? If I were to stop accommodating others, what would that look like, right? Add the question mark to that. Ask yourself about what drains me, what charges me, right? Start understanding that when you do take care of yourself, you actually get more energized, right? And so this phase of growth for you is going to require more integration, not more effort, right? And so a lot of times it's like, I'm so tired, I take care of everyone else except for myself. I can't add another thing on my plate. That's not what we're doing here. You don't need to add more to your plate to get unexhausted and feel aligned again. You need to say no more. You need to work on stop wasting your mental energy on accommodating others for things that literally those other people will never even know that you're thinking about, right? Catch those thoughts and start to shut them down and redirect them, right? And make sure that self-care becomes a part of your life, not a thing that you do later, right? And so integrate saying no, working on your accommodation, and self-care rather than going to do another diet. So let me know if that resonates. If you are the person that needed to hear this episode, send me a message. Like, I really do want to, hear how it landed and just help walk you through this in any way, shape, or form. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope that this gave you some light bulbs today and helped encourage you to take care of yourself and stop accommodating others and stop living your life at the expense of yourself for others. So thank you for listening. I'll see you back here next week for the next episode, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already.